Hey guys, Domer here and welcome to a video. So this time we'll be doing from IDR Labs the Moral Foundations test, which is a test I've actually already done, but I did it a couple months ago, and I want to redo it and see if anything's changed, and to show you where my general thing lies, my general moral foundation, my general thing. I'm already losing it. Okay, let's go. Dan turns up the TV just as his father is talking about his military service. So, at first I was a little confused by this question, as in, his father's in television speaking about his experiences in the military. But actually, it's Dan turns up the television in order to not listen to his father speak about his military service, which I think is extremely not okay. A man orders a custom-built sex doll designed to look just like his niece. Oh shit. Oh, yeah. Not that into that. At the same time, look, on one hand, it's better than actually doing something to his niece, but it's still really fucking disgusting. Right, okay, there. Group of parents concerned about their children's risk of obesity. Fuck, I can't even speak. Demand that the local store stops selling XL-sized candy bars and soft drinks. No. Teach your children better, honestly. Keep them away from that stuff. You're the parent. The store has no responsibility. I mean, I could be an adult and I could wanna get all the XL shit I wanna buy, man. I have this problem here due to regulations in sugar contents and other shit. In America you can get a 2-liter Coca-Cola. I can't do that. Can't get a 2-liter of Coke. There is no 2-liter of Coke. The maximum is 1.5 for Coke, and I think 1.75 for Pepsi. But I think even the 175 bottles have been done for now, that they're gone. I remember buying them like a year ago, 2 years ago, but now they don't seem to exist. Now it's like 1.5 always. Here a public department, so yeah, that's my point, that I want to buy this shit, but it's not available because people want to regulate sugar levels and nonsense. And now I understand, combating obesity and all the rest, but fuck it. Just fuck it. Let people put into their bodies whatever they want to, as long as it's properly advertised as what it is, and it's not misinformation that's leading them to making that decision. Head of public department says none of our employees are allowed to smoke at all, not even in their free time. Let the people smoke. In my country, we just got a really big anti-smoking law. It already exists in the books, but nobody was applying it, and now it's being actually enforced and applied. And people are being encouraged to call hotline to fine someone they see smoking in a closed-off area in a public space. Now, some people might support this. I've seen a lot of people support this, but I'm honestly why the fuck are we dealing with smokers who light up a cig publicly? I don't smoke cigarettes, right? I don't smoke cigarettes, I don't smoke cigars. I know some people who smoke actual cigars, I know people who smoke cigarettes. Fuck, I know people who smoke weed. And weed is actually illegal in this country. I don't give a shit what people do. I don't give a shit what they do. I've inhaled a lot of smoke. Sure, it's annoying. I moved to a different place, so I don't have to inhale it. Could I get lung cancer from all the exposure to smoke I had in my life? Might be. Would it be unfair? Yeah, it'd be unfair. I don't think we should be regulating where people can smoke, though. I think that's an invasion of liberty. Now, granted, you could argue, their liberties end where mine begin. Sure. I think it's nonsense. I think it's a silly law, and it's unnecessarily It's unnecessary authoritarianism. That's what I believe. Principal of a school says that none of her students are allowed to draw Muhammad on school purposes or to bring Muhammad cartoons to school. Fuck Muslim sensibilities. I don't give a shit. You don't want to see Muhammad portrayed anywhere? Go back to your country, whether that be Pakistan or Saudi Arabia or wherever the fuck you came from. You're in my fucking country, and in my country we do whatever the fuck we like. Don't like it? Move somewhere else. Very simple shit. It's not rocket science. Go back home. What the fuck are you doing here? I'm not being a xenophobe. I'm not being anything really. Although if you call me a xenophobe, well, I'll take it with pride. Honestly, fuck it. I don't care. I don't see what is wrong with saying, look, I've lived in this country. My family has lived in this country for generations. My family worked their fucking asses off to provide for this country. You come out of fucking nowhere. You claim benefits in this country. You barely even integrate. You don't even make the smallest attempts to integrate. But even if you do, the moment you step in your foot to this fucking country, the moment you step your foot in the fucking door, you have the fucking audacity to complain. You have the audacity to demand things of the locals. Are you out of your fucking mind? Have you lost it completely? Are you insane? No, you don't get to demand shit, right? You're our guest here, and you're gonna act based on, you're gonna do as the Romans do when in Rome. That's how you're gonna behave. You're gonna behave the way we behave, and you're gonna tolerate what we do because we are the group of this country. We live in nation states. We are the nation of that country. We're the majority of the population in that country. You will act according to our laws and decrees and our will. And culture, of course. Fuck your morality, fuck your sensibility. You're not in your country. Julie asked her friend not to fraternize with her ex-boyfriend Jake since he cheated on her with other women. 3 weeks later, Julie's friend Melissa is dating him. That's dumb of Melissa, but I don't think it's some like big moral failing. I guess I'll put it here because it's idiotic for her to do that when that guy has that reputation. If it's verifiable, of course, because a lot of people can say a lot of shit about a lot of other people, and it's just not true. In biology class, a human hand preserved in a jar is passed around among the students. I mean, that's cool, but I don't see what purpose it would serve. What? Are you talking to them about prevention of bacteria or preventing of decay? How to prevent decay? Are you teaching them how to prevent decay in dead organisms or something? Like, I don't understand. I guess I'll go here because I just don't get the usefulness of it. Just doing it for the heck of it is not a good excuse, I think. You're trying to teach a lesson, you know? But I will admit, it is rather cool, if a little disgusting. Tom and Linda have been dating for almost a year. Since they've never agreed to be exclusive, Tom sleeps with other women without telling Linda. You're a piece of shit, Tom. You're a piece of shit, right? You know, just because you didn't sign a fucking contract on it doesn't mean it wasn't implied. And frankly, everybody understands it's implied. Like, if somebody came up to me and told me, well, I genuinely didn't know that it was implied, I'd be like, bullshit. Go fuck yourself. Bullshit. You knew it was implied. You did it. But you found that technicality to justify your actions. Your immoral action that you knew was immoral, that you knew wasn't supposed to happen. No, you knew it was implied. It's fucking clear as day that it was implied. Nobody's dumb enough to not know that it was implied. Anyway, an army lieutenant neglects to file a report on a civilian killing done by his troops because he knows it was an accident. Well, I can understand, you know, knowing your platoon or your squad or your whatever, and knowing that they would never hurt civilians on purpose. Well, I can get that. That's negligence. That's very gross negligence. I don't think that should be allowed. But I do have some sympathy, I guess. Yeah, a little bit. In sex education class, the students are asked to inflate a condom with their mouth. Again, back to, you know, the thing that I said about biology. Does this serve a purpose? If not, then no. If yes, then okay. I don't see the purpose it would serve. I mean, obviously you can't tell them to put it on their penises. You know, right then and there. Of course. But you could show it to them. You could show them some like diagrams, well, you know, pictures or something, you know, of how it is to be done. You know, these pictures, they have these very scientific pictures of the human anatomy and body and the genitalia where they show you a bunch of things. Like, you could do that. So I don't see the point. Hannah inherited an old flag of her country from her father, but has never used it. One day when Hannah is cleaning the house, she discovers that she's out of rag, so she uses the flag as a rag to clean the house. Hannah, you're a despicable disgrace to your country, honestly. And to your father. Amy and Mia are co-workers. One day, Amy offers Mia to take one of her shifts, no strings attached. Sometimes later, Amy could really use someone to fill in for her, but Mia doesn't feel compelled because Amy's original offer had no strings attached. It's dumb of Amy to say no strings attached. Like, I understand it's a pretty chill thing to do. Okay, here, have a shift, no strings attached. I can take a shift of yours, but I think you need to leave the other person with a sense of obligation. You tell them, look, I did this thing for you once. I mean, you're gonna have to pay me back. I don't think that's a wrong thing to do. I don't think that's immoral. I think that's simply how human interactions work. Look, I've done some things for you. You do some things for me. Like, and we both get what we want, and we both live in harmony. I mean, it's pretty standard relations between acquaintances, I think. So it's dumb of Amy to do that, but like on the other hand, Mia is being kind of shitty because she should have that sense of internal obligation to do it. She should have like a sort of internal compulsion. She shouldn't need an external one to do it. Jack and Will are classmates. Will's father is a lawyer. When he picks up Will from school, he refuses to say hi to Jack's father because he's only a janitor. Fucking classism in action. Will's father's a piece of shit. You're no better than anybody else just because you're a lawyer. You need to get your pride checked. This pride will be this person's undoing. Or it would be if this person existed. I mean, a lot of people have this mentality or similar mentalities. They'll effectively act like they're better than others for what? Because they have a car, because they have a hot girlfriend, because they have a good job, because they have whatever, right? You're no better than anybody else. We're all flesh and blood at the end of the fucking day. Emma and Cindy are summer interns. One more, I need to add something actually to my previous point. Look, you can be better than some people in some things. Like there's obviously like demonstrable skills. Somebody's better than basketball than somebody else. Somebody's better at football than somebody else. There's that. Then there is being better at work or a job or whatever. And then there's just being morally better. Having better morality, having better attitude, having a better outlook on life. There are such things, surely. But people who have those better things also don't feel the need to act superior most of the time. They don't have that hubris. And when that hubris gets them, then they turn into very nasty people. But usually they don't have that hubris. Usually they have a certain humility. They believe that, well, I got what I want, I got where I am through hard work and determination. And nothing stops anybody else from doing it. That's the right attitude to have. And when Cindy are summer interns at Chris's office, Emma does slightly better than Cindy. At the end of the summer, there's only one job opening, but Chris gives it to Cindy because he finds her more attractive. Chris might be a bit of an idiot because he's not following meritocracy correctly, but I mean, the difference is slight, as it says here. So it really doesn't matter. Chris can choose on whatever grounds he wants. He's the employer. I'm okay with that. I don't care. A man sets up an unlicensed medical practice but makes all of his customers sign a contract acknowledging that he's not a licensed physician. On one hand, I don't want to encourage unlicensed medical practice. On the other hand, since as long as the contract is like valid and it's visible that he is not, I don't think I have a problem with it. Like, people can choose as long as they can actually tell that, yeah, I am not a licensed physician, like that in like bold letters, huge bold letters, and that's like the contract. And like as long as that's the contract, I have no problem. Brian doesn't cooperate with law enforcement. Whenever he's pulled over, he refuses to answer questions, starts bickering with the officer about his rights. Well, on one hand, I don't think we should be making police officers' lives a living fucking nightmare to deal with us as people. On the other hand, I don't believe in blind obedience to authority. I think, yeah, he should be pointing out his rights and dealing with it in that way. But you know, when I see morons like the what were they called? There's this subset of people who you know they'll be driving on the road and they'll start talking about like naval law and the Articles of Confederation and other shit like that in America, and they'll start bickering with police officers about that. I mean that's just dumb. That's just loony. That's insane. Just to get out of a couple fines or something. So I guess I'll have to go slightly okay, but you know whatever. Scott is hosting a dinner party. For dessert, he's serving chocolate cake shaped to look like dog poop. Ugh. Okay, you. Tim asks his father for permission to stay out late because his classmates are throwing a party. When his father refuses, Tim slams the door in his face. I understand Tim's reaction, but I think it's a little petty. Have to stay neutral on this one, I guess. I mean, his father is being an asshole. James' boss calls all of his employees by their first name, but does not allow any of them to call him by his first name. When Jane insists that it must be a two-way street, he fires her. That is not okay of him. Look, I know people will tell me some shit about hierarchy, and yeah, he's the boss, they're not the boss, right? But that's just kind of an abuse of authority, I believe. I mean, if we're gonna create societies where we're supposedly all equal, and all created equal, rather, just, you can't allow this sort of shit to be going on. I'm not the sort of person, as I said, who has sort of blind obedience to authority. I have problems with authority. I have bone to pick with authority. I'm not gonna be super troublesome for no fucking reason. But you're gonna have to effectively convince me that you deserve to be in charge. If I don't think you deserve to be there, yeah, I'm gonna make your job difficult. And I'll have every right to do that. Sarah gets drunk in a bar and makes out with two strangers at once. Ugh. Oh, no. Look, we've taken this whole like sexual liberation and you know whatever thing. We've taken this to a completely different extreme, and I'm just like I never thought I'd become this conservative on this topic because I used to be pretty liberal and I used to be, oh well, she can make out 10 people. Fuck do I care? No, this is a disgrace. I mean, I'd look at her and be like, what the fuck is she doing? Fuck you. Who the fuck's that slut? Like, legit. And I don't think I'm wrong in that. I look at a guy who's like cheating on his wife with like 3 other women and having a threesome with him or something. He's cheating on his wife. I'd see that guy as an animal. Why the fuck wouldn't I see her as an animal for it either? You're surrendering to your carnal desires for no fucking reason. Have some control, have some self-respect. Well, in a live on-air TV show, a man kills a baby rabbit with a knife. That's like uncalled for, completely unnecessary, and there's no reason for anyone to see that. What the fuck am I reading? A pair of parents read about the exotic delicacies of Africa and the Far East. In the coming week, they serve dog meat to their children. No. That's a little barbaric for my taste. When Lily tells her classmate Sue that it's her dream to be prom queen, Sue laughs out loud and says, "You're too ugly for that." Look, I appreciate the honesty on one hand, but on the other hand, that's just completely uncalled for. Just like, that's rudeness for the sake of rudeness. That's silly. That's just being fucking shitty to someone for no reason. Some men have a private all-male club, and feminists take them to court the moment they open up with women. Look, if you know anything about me or my channel, you already know what the fuck I'm gonna answer to this. I have a big problem with feminism. Yeah, look, that is not okay. They can go fuck themselves. Men should have their own private spaces that are all men, just as women should have their own private space that are all women. Look, every once in a while we need a break from one another. You know, I mean, I've seen this with my girlfriend, right? Like, we love being together, we love sitting together, we love meeting together, we love spending time together. But there was a couple days where we spent every living moment of that day together, and it was tiring. It was tiring to me, it was tiring to her, and we just kind of talked to one another at the same time about it, and we came to the conclusion that, look, okay, I mean, we fucked it. We've taken it to completely different extreme. Screw it, just, let's give each other some time alone, some time alone, some time with our male friends, our female friends, Like it doesn't work out. They need some spaces that are just separate. That's the reality of this world. Otherwise, you're just fucking up society for no fucking reason. In the name of what? Full equality, fake equality. A new action figure becomes all the rage amongst the boys in Timmy's class when Timmy's parents get to the store to buy all of the action figures for Timmy, leaving none for their children. That's kind of a shitty move. That's a pretty shitty move. I mean, why would you do that? What? Do you just hate the other kids? Do you just want your Timmy to have the fucking toys but nobody else? I mean, why would a parent do that? That's unnecessarily petty. Like that's the... Like, effectively, that parent is not a parent. That parent's like the fucking... is acting worse than their kid. Tina promises her dying mother she'll visit her grave once a month. If their mother has passed away, Tina finds it hard to squeeze in the time, and her visits drop to about once a year. It was very stupid of Tina to make a promise that she couldn't actually keep. Like, you need to be very careful with your promises. But at the same time, if she can't do it, then she can't do it. It's understandable. When Kelly asks Steven out for a date, he sneers and says, like, I'm gonna date a woman who looks like my overweight bulldog. Look, again, I appreciate the honesty, but there's no need to be rude for no fucking reason. There's no need to be a fucking dick for no reason. Just tell her you're not interested, tell her she's not your type, tell her you don't like her, you're not into her physically or mentally or whatever, and just be done with it. There's no need for this shit. Bob and Pam are siblings. Bob is given $10 by their $10 by their father and told to distribute it between themselves as he likes. Bob gives one to Pam and pockets the 9 himself. That is greed. That's very bad. I don't approve, but at the same time it's a very silly, small situation. So no, that's where I'm gonna put it. Using both a condom and the pill, brother and sister decided they won't sleep with each other just once to see what it would be like. On one hand, it's completely safe. Well, completely safe. It's as safe as it can be, condom and the pill. I mean, the chances of something going wrong are like 0.00001 at that point. Which is still possible, but, pretty low. Very fucking low. Won't sleep with each other just once, see what it would be like. Look, I can't approve this, even though it's safe. I just can't. It sits wrong. It just sits morally wrong with me. When a homeless man asks Matt for spare change, Matt keeps on walking and says, "Don't talk to me, loser." Can you stop being a piece of shit, Matt? Can you actually have some empathy for your fellow human beings, huh? Maybe the man had a rough life, whatever. You don't fucking know his life. Or he a loser. Fuck you, Matt. When Carl's soccer team is squaring off against the team of another nation, he sings along the other team's national anthem instead of his own. Well, Carl's a fucking traitor. Carl needs to go fuck himself, clearly. This is not acceptable. John's soccer coach decides that everyone on the team must wear black soccer shoes, but on the day of the match, John turns up in white soccer shoes instead. Well, if he doesn't have black soccer shoes, if he can't afford black soccer shoes, then it's fine, I guess. Just, don't make it a habit to disobey your coach or anybody else. I mean, I remember we had these, we have student parades on our Independence Day and on another national day. We have student parades. We have military parades and we have student parades, and they go hand in hand, effectively. But, you have students parading for the nation, a sort of national parade of the students. And any student who wants to join in can join in, and one of them gets to hold the flag. And, you're in formation and you're walking in lockstep, in sort of military formation with, marching, effectively. And, I mean, they tell us wear a white shirt, black jeans, and, black shoes. Or something like that. And I remember a couple of these times I'd go there with white shoes or blue shoes or whatever shoes I was wearing. Because I couldn't afford other shoes. And I remember that. And the coach was like, the coach is the guy who does the drills for it. The coach is the guy who, in school, who trains us and prepares us for the parade weeks before we actually have to do it. So, we're marching in a somewhat organized manner and not like fucking animals. Not like a fucking sheep herd. But excuse me. But like, you know, and I'd go there with those shoes, and he'd be understanding. He'd be like, you know what? If you can wear the black shoes, if you have the black shoes, come here with the black shoes. If not, it's all right. It's okay. It's understandable. All right, you know. So I get it, and I have sympathy for it. Sarah's dog has 4 puppies. She can only find a home for 2 of them, so she kills the other 2 with a stone head. Completely unnecessary. There's literally no fucking need for it. She can go to a shelter. She can give them fucking anywhere. She could ask around the neighborhood if they need some puppies, some dogs. I mean, they say she can only find a home for 2 of them. Send them somewhere. I don't know, release them to the fucking wild. It's better than fucking throwing a stone on their fucking head. Jesus. Adam and Beth have been dating for 3 years. Adam is reluctant to have children, so Beth tells him that she's on the pill when she isn't. That's a real situation. That's a very scary situation. Like, I have heard a lot of men speak about this sort of shit. I can't fucking imagine what it would be like to be a man in this situation. Beth is a piece of shit, undoubtedly. A Christian baker refused. Oh yeah, the classic one. Christian baker refused to custom decorate a cake with chocolate letters that would carry a pro-gay message. Here's the thing. On one hand, discrimination of somebody based on something they can't change in a store is wrong, because people need these stores. People need to be able to access these stores and the goods they provide, because that's the society we live in. However, in a big city, because, you know, gay people usually live in cities. Like, very few gay people have come out of villages. Or if they have, they've moved to the city because the cities are usually most accepting of them, and the cities are where they can find other gay people and have their little gay communities and, you know, find boyfriends and girlfriends if they're lesbians and stuff. So, and that's where they can have weddings usually, because in the village nobody's gonna marry them, you know. Here's the thing: in the cities there's an abundance of these stores, and competition drives them. And competition will lead some of these stores to make the smart choice, the competitively smart choice, to actually make the pro-gay message. The Christian bakers can hold on to their beliefs, and they can go to some other bakery that's non-Christian. So I guess I'd have to agree, actually, with them. In sex education class, the students are taught that since the sexes are equal, the girls should sleep with as many guys as they want without fear of being considered sluts. How about we teach people to not just give in to their fucking loins, to not just give in to their basest, most carnal fucking desires, and do whatever their fucking dick or their vagina tells them to do, and actually teach people to have some self-control in that regard, instead of, you know, telling them to go for a fucking free-for-all, to have orgies. How about that? But no, we need to concern ourselves with just words, just derogatory words. That's the issue of the day. I mean, fuck the homeless people on the street. Fuck all those people losing their jobs to automation. Fuck all these other actual issues where people are struggling for their fucking livelihoods. Screw that. Somebody called me a slut when I was walking on the sidewalk, and they knew me and they called me that because, I don't know, I made out with 4 guys when I was in high school. No, that's the issue of the century. Congratulations, good job. Okay, let's see. What are our scores? Results. So the green line's mine, the blue is left liberal, the red's conservative, the yellow is libertarian. Care 94%, fairness 72%, purity 72%, loyalty 58%, authority 53%, and liberty 83%. Strongest moral foundation is care. Interesting. Very interesting. And your morality is closest to that of a conservative. Yeah, I can kind of see that in the scales. So, as far as I can tell, I mean, on care, I surpass every other group. On fairness, I'm only surpassed by the left liberals by about, like, I don't know, 3 points. Oh shit, that's a notification. I forgot to mute my phone, sorry. On loyalty, I'm only surpassed by the conservatives by, like, I don't know, 3 points. Again, 3%. On authority, I'm second lowest. I'm second highest, actually. Which I don't know what I feel about it, because it's still like 53%. Like, okay, I'm not gonna go out of my way to fuck with authority, but at the same time, I don't really comply to authority if I don't respect it. I guess it's an accurate viewpoint, the 53%, it's accurate. Purity, I'm the highest. I'm pretty proud of that result. Actually, in Liberty, I'm the second highest, only by separation, like 2 points from the Libertarians, which I'm also pretty proud of. Yeah, I mean, it looks good. Loyalty is a little low, I believe, but it's still like the second highest out of the group, so I imagine it's just low for all groups. Care. This foundation pertains to our mammalian need to care for our young and to form bonds of attachment to others. It underlies the virtues of kindness and nurturance and tied to emotions of protectiveness and compassion. Left liberals typically score the highest on this dimension, conservatives the second highest, and libertarians the lowest. It's understandable because libertarians are a lot more concerned with themselves, honestly. Look, I don't think I'm being unfair when I say that. Well, conservatives do care about like their family and their society and the social unit and all the rest, and liberals just have a general compassion to like the whole fucking world, the whole wide world. Left liberals. This fairness, this foundation pertains to our ability to maintain cooperative, mutually beneficial relationships. It underlies the virtues of honesty, justice, and dependability. It is tied to emotions such as gratitude, anger, and guilt. Left liberals typically score higher. What did they get there? Fairness. I got 72%. It's pretty good. Okay, yeah. Left liberals typically score higher on this dimension than conservatives and libertarians. It's fair enough, but I mean, all groups are roughly around the same on it. Loyalty. This foundation is derived from a species' long history of living as tribes and clans, enabling us to form cohesive communities. It underlies the virtues of patriotism, bravery, and self-sacrifice on behalf of the group. See, that's why I said 58 is too low, but I mean, as I said, it's all of them were pretty low, so yeah. I think the conservatives had like 60%, that was it. It is tied to emotions such as pride and a sense of belonging. Conservatives typically score higher on this dimension than left liberals and libertarians. Libertarians, again, care more about themselves. Left liberals just don't give a shit about their country. Their country can take a fucking dump. For them, they are citizens of the world, usually. Conservatives are actually grounded in their country and understand that that's kind of where they live. They have to preserve it. Authority. This foundation was shaped by history's long history of bonding together in hierarchical social interactions. It underlies the virtues of respect for tradition and deference to legitimate authority. It is tied to emotions such as fear, respect, and awe. Conservatives typically score higher on this dimension, like liberals and libertarians. Yeah, because conservatives have a sort of respect for traditional order and generally just order in general. Where left liberals just want to overthrow the system, man, and all this other nonsense. And libertarians are, kinda just, I don't give a fuck about authority, just leave me alone. Just go fuck yourself. You can't give me commands. Purity's foundation pertains to our species' need to avoid disease and parasites. It undermines the phenomenon of cultural taboos and fuels the commitment to live in a manner that abstains from indulgence and sensory desires. It is that, yeah, I've kind of grown in the purity department a lot. Like, I used to not give a shit about it, and now I just really care about it. Because I had a philosophical awakening, and I read a lot of philosophical texts, and they were right when they point out that, look, generally it's good to not just have sex with a bunch of people. Generally it's good to have some self-control over that. Just take control of yourself. Like, control your urges, control your desires. Don't stuff yourself with food. Don't have sex every 2 fucking minutes with random people you don't even know. Don't fucking rush into danger for no fucking reason, just for the sake of risk-taking and daredevil nonsense. Don't fucking be envious of everybody else and just look at their lives and be like, why can't my life be like that? I want to be like that. I want to be like that. Actually have some gratitude for, what you have. Be humble. Don't be prideful. Don't sit there in your egotism and say, oh, I'm the best and I'm always right and you're always wrong. Don't do this shit. It's ridiculous. Society emotion has a sanctity, piety, and disgust. Conservatives typically score higher in this dimension. Left liberals and libertarians. Left liberals and libertarians, if the partner, are still sort of do whatever. For different reasons, but do whatever. Left liberals, for example, say this for reasons of, well, we need to overthrow this restrictive social culture that prevents us from all these things, and we need to get rid of taboos and all this other shit. And libertarians are like, well, you can do whatever the fuck you like. You do you, boo. Whereas conservatives are like, no, there's acceptable behavior and there's unacceptable behavior. And then liberty. This foundation is related to the individual's need to be his own master and to avoid the dominant social mores imposed by the group. It underlies the virtues of independence and autonomy. It is tied to emotions of self-sufficiency and defiance. Libertarians typically score the highest in this dimension, conservative the second highest, and left liberals the lowest. Yeah, left liberals kind of are slaves to government and intervention from government. Libertarians and conservatives like to live on their own terms, mostly. With conservatives actually being kinda slavish when it comes to society and social norms, and just libertarians being unconstrained. I'm not gonna read the ideologies, I think you've got a pretty good understanding of them and you can take the text yourself, but because I imagine this video is pretty long, you know, here are the studies and the and a bit of a, you know, citation, I guess, and yeah, I mean, that was fun. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.